I feel like it used to be a lot easier to be real than it is in today's society. Now it feels like a practice, it feels like a challenge, and it feels like a discipline, I suppose, And it's not to say that that's a good or a bad thing, but it's just something I've been thinking about lately, and it's an observation that has interested me for a while, how hard it is to be authentic online these days, and it's often not even a choice. It's out of our hands. Myself included, very easily swept up in the social media narratives and the trends. And I think moving forwards, this kind of this disciplined practice of being a real human being is going to be even more important as we continue as a species. There's plenty of things now that it's recommended that we do often, daily, thinking about food and exercise, and whether it's like a mindfulness practice and meditation or whatever. And I think like realness is already part of my daily practice. It's really important for me to try and focus on being authentic, because I know how easy it is to be inauthentic these days. Whether it's online personas, filters on photographs and videos, AI generated content, or just the general performative nature of online spaces now. I have felt very much swept up in that, for some time. And even though I always try to be disciplined and authentic in the way that I present myself, I find it's very, very easy to get lost in this performative culture, online, which is, really what I'm trying to steer away from, I think, moving forwards. And this is one of the reasons for making these videos, is that I want to connect with people in a real and authentic way. Whenever I'm on social media now, scrolling through, on the best of days, I'm perhaps not scrolling through for a long time, and on the worst of days, I'm scrolling through for a long time, because it's a way for me to get out of my head when I'm not feeling great as well. That's the truth. But yeah, scrolling online these days, I do look for authenticity, and that is not unusual really, because it's what I look for in the real world as well. I really look for people who are as authentic as possible, and it's something that I strive for as well. And I think it's a quality that is really admirable in society generally, but in today's society particularly, with all those things I mentioned. Not to be judgmental or too negative, but I think the combination of the AI generated content and the filters on the photographs and everything like that, it's the distance between the real and the digital world is getting greater and greater. And at this moment in time, it's not something I really want to pursue in that manner. I used to use AI a lot, and I'm trying to steer away from it as much as possible. Filters I've never really used, and each to their own, but it's not really for me. But yeah, this performative culture and online presence and persona is definitely something I've fallen trapped to. Whether it's like presenting myself in a certain way to kind of create this identity or not. To the best of my ability, I'm trying to stay away from that as much as possible now. So I think like this authenticity is a daily choice and a daily practice, and for me it's a part of being human now, and it's a part of me reclaiming and holding on to what it means to be me, what it means to be Joe Kanye Whitmore in 2025. I think realness is it's not always about rawness. I'm quite an open person. Obviously there's things that I don't share, but there are a lot of things that I do choose to share because I feel like they will benefit other people. But it doesn't mean to say that realness is always raw. Realness, I think, is more about intention, and I think it's unique to each of us, isn't it? So some people, let's take me for an example. I'm in recovery. I've had a lot of issues with drink and drugs over the years. I'm now 5.5 years into the journey of recovery, And I think it's really important for me to talk about that for my own sanity. It helps me to pick through things, but also for reasons greater than me, you know, to be of service and to help others who are perhaps where I used to be. So that's like one way that I can be real in today's society. But I think there are many ways, you know, and we each have to find our own way. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to open up and spill everything, all your deepest, darkest secrets. Not at all, you know, it can be many different things. And I think part of that journey is figuring it out for yourself. We definitely lose ourselves trying to be other people, though. I think that's the truth. And again, I've struggled with that. You know, being in active addiction, I struggled with it because I was always wearing different masks to fit into with different people and to present myself as something that I'm not really. And even now in recovery, you know, in the workplace or when I'm out with certain groups of people, I'll act a certain way. And that in itself is very tiring. It's not very sustainable, I don't think. And part of my own recovery journey over the last 5 years, and this isn't just about recovery, it's about growth in general on our own, you know, life path. You know, that growth of trying to be myself more often than not has been really challenging, but it's been very rewarding. And I think that the more that I work at it, to just chip away little bits every day, not necessarily every day, but over the space of a year, you know, just like constantly putting in bits of work to reveal myself authentically to the people that I trust and love and know, has been really rewarding. And actually it means that my default state is much more relaxed and calm than it was before, because I think necessarily wearing masks and pretending to be somebody else all day, every day is not only very tiring, but it induces anxiety. It doesn't make us confident and comfortable in our own real skin, because it's not, you know. Yeah, you know, and I'm thinking a lot these days about which direction the culture is going in, and for me, like, being authentic and real, it almost seems like a countercultural act, you know, in today's society. And perhaps that sounds a little bit extreme, but I think of what the mainstream culture is doing now. It's becoming much more homogenized. People all over the globe are, you know, acting in the same ways and engaging in the same behaviours on social media and trends, and using the same music on the videos and doing the same dances and dressing the same, and slowly becoming more visually similar as well, you know, with plastic surgery and style and fashion, I think. So to be real and authentic is, in my best estimation, a real countercultural act, you know, and it's in a sense, it is an act of resistance against yeah, the homogenization of culture in this world that we live in. And, you know, it's not really for me to say whether it is a good or a bad thing. That I think we're all slowly kind of converging on this same point, and perhaps that's just the way it's meant to be. But in my own experience, I really find that being my authentic self is much more liberating than trying to be somebody else. So if you've got anything from that, give me a comment, let me know what you think. Always trying to connect with people. If it spoke to you, thanks for listening and sticking around. And I'm going to be like really getting the ball rolling now, so I'm going to be putting out videos every day. So stay tuned.